Welcome to Exact Training. This session is on the Shop Floor Execution module, Creating Routing Notes. In this lesson, you will learn what routing notes are, how they are created, and how they are added to a part routing. We'll begin by defining routing notes. Let's get started. So routing notes are additional information that is stored as text. It is either associated to a specific part routing operation, or it can be associated generically to the routing operation of many parts. They often contain more detailed instructions for the routing operation. Routing notes display on the shop paperwork, on the part routing, and on the order routing reports. Now that we know what routing notes are, let's create a few. There are two types of notes, generic and part-specific. Let's walk through creating one of each. To create a generic routing note, these are the steps we'll follow. We will be on the Production tab in the Shop Floor Execution module. Then we'll go to the Activity menu and choose the Routing Notes option. From there, the generic screen will appear, and we will begin entering the note. So from the Mac System Manager, choose the Production tab and the Shop Floor Execution module. The Shop Floor Execution window will open. Select the Activity menu and choose Routing Notes. And the Routing Note window will open. The note type defaults to generic. Enter your generic notes in the first available row. Notes can be up to 68 characters long per line. In this example, we have 4 different generic notes entered. Let's save those notes by clicking on the Save button. The Next Note field allows you to chain notes together. To print or show the first note followed by the second note, in the Next Note field you would enter the note that is to come next. So to have Note 1 show or print followed by Note 2, we will put a 02 in the Next Note box for Note 1. We can enter 003 on the second line. And now Note 3 will print or show after Note 2. The notes do not have to be sequential. If you would like to skip over a note, just modify the Next Note field appropriately. To print Note 1 and then Note 3 skipping Note 2, you would go to the Next Note field for the first note and enter 003. Now let's talk about a part-specific routing note. These are the steps we'll follow. We will stay in the Routing Notes screen and choose the option for Part Notes. We will enter a Part ID and begin typing the notes. The notes will be entered much the same way we did for generic notes, but they will only be used for that specific part. Again, to get to this screen, we are on the Production tab, Shop Floor Execution, Activity menu, and we chose Routing Notes. To make notes for a specific part, we will need to click the radio button next to Part Notes. Now click in the field for Part ID and enter the Part ID number. Just like we did for generic parts, we will click in the first available note line and enter our note. For notes that are longer than 68 characters, a bulk note window can be selected by double-clicking the note line number. So if you double-click on a line number, the Routing Note Bulk text box will open. Now we can enter more than 68 characters of text, and the system will divide the characters into separate note lines and automatically set the next note number. When you're finished typing your note, click the OK button. This option works for generic notes as well. Notice how the next note boxes have automatically been populated. We're now done entering the notes. Now we'll take a look at how the notes are used. Routing notes are added by going to the part routing operation and selecting either generic or part-specific note. To add a note to the routing, these are the steps we'll follow. We'll go to the shop floor execution module, the activity menu, and select routing. Then we will enter the part number and select the routing operation. We will select the note type and enter the note number we'd like to use. So from the activity menu, select routing. Click in the part ID field and enter the part number. Now enter a number for the operation sequence. First, let's add the generic note by clicking on the Generic Radio button. You can double-click in the Note field to see the available generic notes. When you double-click the Notes field, the Generic Notes browser window will open. Double-click on the appropriate note to select it. Now save those changes. Now let's add a part-specific note. Enter a different operation sequence. And let's select the Part Radio button. And double-click in the Note field to open the part-specific note browser. You can now see the available notes for this part. Double-click on the starting note for this operation. Note 1 has been chosen. Now save the record, and that's it. When a routing report is run, the notes you've just added can now be seen. And that completes our lesson on routing notes. You should now understand what routing notes are, how they are used, and how they are added to the part routing. Thank you for taking part in Exact Training.